go out and tell people why their shop is different and why people should come to their shop, right?
Welcome back to the Collision Vision, driven by Auto Body News. As always, I'm your host, Cole Strandberg, and today we continue our collision repair influencers series with one of the most inspirational voices in the industry. Joining me today is Dave Luehr, author, speaker, coach, and the founder of Elite Body Shop Solutions. Dave's been on the show before to talk about his book, Secrets of America's Greatest Body Shops. And today he's back to share what he's been up to lately, including his Positivity Summit, the trends he's seeing across the industry, and how shop owners and leaders can grow forward, even in the face of some big challenges. Enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by Hunter Engineering. Are you considering getting into the ADAS calibration business? If so, consider visiting Hunter Engineering's centralized ADAS information hub learning resource and take advantage of a large library of easy-to-digest videos, insightful articles, interactive training modules, education tools, and much more, covering all aspects of the business of ADAS calibration. The ADAS calibration market is large and it's getting larger. So when you're ready to get going, your road to ADAS success begins with Hunter. Visit hunter.com/ADAS-hub to learn more. That's hunter.com/ADAS-hub. Enjoy the show. Dave, thank you so much for joining us here on the Collision Vision.
Thank you, Cole. Good to be back. Second time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excited to have you. And this series, as we were talking about, is so much fun because it brings back some old friends, the movers and the shakers of the collision repair industry. So very excited to jump in with all that you have going on. You've been amazingly active since the last time we spoke. We run into each other at events. I see you at all the events I'm not at. So you just have a motor that does not stop. Tell us about some of the projects you've been working on here over the last year.
Okay, well, there is. I'm building my elite team, so we've got a lot going on all the time. As you may already know, I started in this business a lot of years ago as a painter, right? That got mad at his boss. I took $100 bill and I developed his paint gun and built a business out of it. My first body shop, and I was a pretty good marketer. I just had a knack for it. So a couple of years later, I'm doing over $1 million a year with 13 employees. And that sounds impressive, but what I didn't tell you is it cost me 1.1 million to do that million. And I was deep in debt and in a lot of trouble because I was a technician turned business owner, right? So that's what we do at Elite, right? We teach technicians turned business owners how to be badass business people. And, so we've got training online. We've got a new academy that we launched last year. So for in-person training, we're still doing our mastermind peer groups. That's continuing to grow. Then we've got our coaching services. But the really cool thing I'm excited about that we're launching actually here in a couple months, September, we've got this new program, and it's really based on what the needs are of the independent collision repair right now, because as you know, things have changed so much, and it's called the Strategic Growth Workshop, right? It's about how to stop competing and start dominating. That's our promise. And it's a 3-day program where people are going to come. They're going to build their own blueprint for success in 3 days here in Nashville and go back and own their markets. We're pretty pumped about this one.
Oh, I love it, man. I want to dive into that a little bit more here in a bit because I think it's timely, right? It's weird out there. It's different out there than it was even a year or two ago. So things are changing. And I want to talk about some of those changes and how we can combat those and kind of view some of these challenges and shift them into opportunities. I'm a positive person. I know you are a very positive person, hence your annual Positivity Summit. So I want to talk to you about that before we get into some of the negatives and we can kind of shift our mind's framework on how to take some of these headwinds and turn them into tailwinds. But talk to me about the Positivity Summit. We had one this year already, if memory serves, and
Yeah.
would love to hear about how that went and the whole deal behind all of what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. It actually started, the idea started during the COVID pandemic, right? And you probably remember just all of the negativity out there, people blasting each other on social media. And we had built this Facebook group called the Elite Body Shop community. And there was a lot of hatred going on, even in this very positive group. And there's a shop owner from Indiana named Greg Lobsager. A lot of people know Greg. You probably know Greg. And he said something about in a post on the Facebook group that, guys, things really aren't that bad, right? And he kind of shook me out of getting drawn into this negativity. And I said, you know what, Greg's right. There's a lot of opportunities right now. We need to lean into this. So I reached out to Greg. I reached out to a handful of other shop owners and said, guys, how would you like to come on and just talk about what's working for you in your business right now, right? We can always deal with all this negativity later on, but what's working? What are you leaning into right now? And this thing just started to grow. And I asked Ryan Taylor from Body Shop Booster to come on and kind of be my co-host, because today we've got this last one, we had over 50 speakers. Can you imagine that? 7 hours long on a webcast on Zoom for 7 hours with over 50 speakers.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it was just a tsunami of positivity. It was so fun. Every year it just gets a little bit bigger, a little more fun.
Man, we need it too. We need it because we talk about these challenges and changes, and again, we'll dive into that and see how we can shift our thoughts around that. But how has that evolved over the years? Obviously, I joined the industry about a decade ago. It felt like there was some negativity, and then that started moving up, and then COVID hits, and maybe that negativity increases, and it feels we're starting to move back in the right direction towards positivity. But how has that evolved? How has your mission evolved over the years doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, I've been in this business since I was like 15 years old, and there's always going to be some negativity. There's always going to be victims, right? And no matter how hard I try to change that, it's not going to change, right? But our mission, since we started Elite Body Shop Solutions in 2014, it hasn't actually changed at all, right? Our mission is to help independents step into their limitless potential, right? But I will say this, the strategies and the tactics that we use are constantly changing right along with the changes of the industry. So what kind of sets us apart, right? And what stays pretty constant in our mission is how we do it, right? We believe that you can't help a shop improve unless the people in the shop are willing to change how they think, right? So in other words, right, we believe a business's success can never exceed or surpass the limiting beliefs of the owner operator. So everything that we do is grounded kind of in that. But what changes a lot is just the tactics and the strategies based on what's going on in the industry.
There you go. And the personality types and the individual stories, a lot going on there. A mentor of mine always says, I'll help anybody as long as I don't want their success more than they do. Right. And I love that, because you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, whatever you want to use. All the resources and the opportunity in the world is there, as long as that mind frame is in the right space. You mentioned the strategic growth workshops you have going on. What are some other things you're doing today? And we can dive into that a little bit more, that are really exciting you, where it makes you super excited to get out of bed every morning.
Yeah, no, great question. Because people ask me all the time. I've been called out like on stage before. It's like, with all your knowledge of operating body shops, why don't you own shops? And and the answer is I've been there, done that, right, for 30 years. But the reality is I'm having too much fun. I do. I really love to get out of bed, and excited how my my elite team and I are going to go out and figure out how to help some of our clients grow and kick butt on their competitors. And that's fun for me. And in our mastermind groups, for example, right? These are our peer groups, and we have shops that when they first joined the elite community were struggling to do like $500,000 a year, right? Pretty small shop. I think you'd agree. Now, some of these guys are approaching 3 million in just a few short years. So it's really fun to see what they can do things with just some of the basic strategies that we help them build. If they just trust the process, they can get these kind of results, and it's just fun to watch.
I bet, man. Well, and that's something that's so cool about what you do, to an extent about what I do as well, is the exposure to some really cool people and great entrepreneurs and just people you want to be around. And certainly in all that you're doing, your Positivity Summit, your mastermind groups, you get exposure to some amazing people. Are there any trends or kind of just some constants that you see among the top performers that separate them from everybody else?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Other than the fact that they refuse to, give into victimhood, right? A couple trends that I'm seeing that are really starting to pay off for some of these shops. It's how we teach our shops to identify what we call a USP, a unique selling proposition. This has really been something we've been shouting from the rooftops this year. We want them to identify a USP and then lean into it, right? So instead of getting all wrapped up that they've got to specialize in order to survive, right? Some specialize and do great with that. But what we're really trying to get them to understand is identify a USP and then learn how to market that. Go out and sell it to potential referral influencers. Go out and tell people why their shop is different and why people should come to their shop, right? OEM certifications. I don't know how many times I've heard people say, well, we invest all this money in certifications, but I don't get anything out of them. I'm like, well, how do you sell that? How do you leverage that? Because that can be used as a unique selling proposition as well, right? Another trend, right, that some people are taking advantage of is, I think you'd agree, claims counter is way down right now, right? A lot of shops are slow. But the interesting thing is customer pay is actually climbing crazy high right now. So savvy shops, right, are noticing this, and they're using tools and different strategies like Body Shop Booster, for example, to attract customers that may not want to turn their damaged vehicle into insurance, right? Some of our top performers are also leaning into things like artificial intelligence. You wouldn't expect to hear that from, the independent repair community, but a lot of these guys are on the cutting edge of how to use things like AI as a means to capture work, and also how to retain customers after the repairs are already done. So my team and I, we're trying to lean into AI ourselves. We work closely with guys like Ryan Taylor from Body Shop Booster, Tractable. I want to know everything these guys are doing so I can help get our customers out in front of the competition.
So much change happening today. And it's why, I love interviewing body shop owners, but oftentimes they would admit it. They're working in their business, maybe more than they should be working on their business. In your case, you're not working in a business or on a business. You're working on an industry. And I think that gives some really unique insights and perspective that I appreciate you sharing here with our listeners. Are there any blind spots that you can see based on a global view that the industry needs to address sooner rather than later? Something that may or may not be impacting us today, but certainly will be impacting us next year, next month, whatever that time frame is.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to address what you said. I am working on the industry kind of, but a segment of the industry, right? So I don't always claim that the things I'm doing makes the industry necessarily better. It just makes our clients, our independents, better, I think. So if that's good for the industry, I'm happy to hear that, right? But yeah, there's a lot of potential blind spots out there. We could probably do a whole podcast just on that. But what's on my radar most recently is I've had some conversations with the leadership at iCar, right? And there's still something like 24,000 independent shops out there, and a lot of them just aren't getting the training they need to perform safe and proper repairs on these modern cars that's coming into their shop. That worries the hell out of me, right? There's a perception that iCar training is a waste of money to a lot of these guys, right? But it's also our primary resource for training. Where else are you going to go, right? So I think a lot of work that needs to be done to get the independents more involved and have a voice in the direction of iCar, right? Because we're all in this together, right? I feel like shop owners want to whine and complain about iCar when they need to be having meaningful discussions with iCar instead of complaining on Facebook, right? So I'm working with iCar leadership to try to figure out how do we make these communication channels better and get the independent community more involved in what's going on at iCar.
It seems there has been some movement there in terms of whether it's a board presence or a real focus on the independent world. As these large MSOs continue to grow, it makes sense that they're going to have prominent seats at the table. But at the end of the day, this industry is less consolidated than more, and independents make up a larger portion of the industry than MSOs. So we need those voices there for sure. With all of this change and with your client base really being that independent world, how are they addressing and how are you advising folks address all of this rapid advancement in technology, the tooling and equipment required to keep up, the requirements and expectations to attract talent? There's so many headwinds. How are you changing those into tailwinds and shifting those perspectives?
I love them, man. I love all those things. Right? I'm sick and twisted. I know. But look, if a shop owner, chooses to look at talent shortages and advancing technology and consolidation as a problem, then it will be a problem for them, right? Our highest performing independent shops see these same circumstances as an opportunity to distance themselves from the competition. So instead of freaking out about it, they're actually kind of leaning into it, and it's refreshing to see. And that's what we really encourage our clients to do, right? So all of these so-called challenges or problems can be considered strategic advantages for them if it's positioned correctly. You know what I mean, Cole?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the shop with the best employees during a talent shortage, who has the strategic advantage in that situation? Right? Those who lean into technology are years ahead of those who avoid it. And on the topic of consolidation, don't even get me started, man.
Oh yeah. I sort of want to get you started, but I'm with you, right? You picture tailwinds and headwinds, and it's really about how your sale is positioned to take advantage of those. They're the same thing. You just got to prepare and make the most of them. Challenges create opportunities. I love it. Talk to me too, kind of last piece on the shop level. Customer expectations. We talk about that all of the time. Customer expectations are shifting well beyond our industry. I have an Amazon package showing up this morning on something I wanted late last night, like the easy button. How have you seen in the collision repair framework customer expectations evolving, and how do shops adjust to that and meet or exceed those expectations?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Amazon is a perfect example of what's driving expectations. And because most people don't get in an accident, but maybe every 7 years, there's a lot of other customer experiences that are going to influence their expectations. So you're exactly right. If I order something today from Amazon, I want it yesterday. And because of that, I think body shops need to make some adjustments, right? And I really believe that what can help shops, right, more than just being friendly and communicating well with their customers, that stuff is critical. But where a lot of them fall down is they just don't have the process consistency like an Amazon does. Amazon delivers, most of the time on what they promise because they've got systems and processes that ensure that, right? So my advice to shop operators is they need well-defined processes that can deliver consistently, right? Consistency is the key to the kingdom right now.
Love that. And not the kind of basic answer you would think from my perspective. I think there's a lot of solutions that kind of treat the high level issue, but they don't actually fix anything from a business perspective. And I think a lot of operational efficiencies and processes and procedures fix a lot of challenges. If you get that figured out, your customers are going to be pretty darn happy. There's a philosophy or at least a phrase that you throw out a fair bit, whether it's in your publications and your speaking engagements, and I love it and I want to dive into it. And
Mm.
that is grow forward or growing forward. What does that mean to you?
Well, I wish I could take full credit for that, but that was actually a brainstorming session with my elite team. I've got some amazing gals on my team, and we have this thing called War Room, and we get together and we talk about strategies or marketing strategies. In this particular War Room, we were talking about um, kind of a theme for the Positivity Summit. What do we want people to take away from this? Right. And I think that's probably maybe what you saw was as it relates to some press around the Positivity Summit, I think. Um, so I contributed to grow forward, but I can't take all the credit for that. Um, I love the word growth, right? Because it's part of our human DNA. It literally is for ascension. You've heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all have this need for ascension. And so growth is a natural part of our needs, right? So grow forward, right, came out of this brainstorming session. What's this summit going to be accomplished for our viewers? We want them to grow. We want them to move forward, all right, in their businesses, and we're going to surround them with 50 plus speakers that are going to just be constantly barraging them with all these ideas and strategies that they're using to grow forward. So that's really what it's all about.
Love it, man. Nope. I love that word too, whether in business or in personal life, growth and ascension. It's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Talk to me in this Positivity Summit and beyond in the work that you do within your mastermind groups. How can owners and managers and leaders within their organizations embrace a positive mindset without either ignoring real challenges or making their team who might not have that mindset feel like they're ignoring real challenges?
Mm. Yeah, because it can kind of come off as phony,
Or annoying, right?
annoying, right?
Like, man, I've been getting hit in the face all morning and you got a big smile. What's going
Yeah,
on? How do
get
we
the
get
hell
everyone
out of
rowing the
my
boat
face,
in that
man.
direction?
Yeah. Yeah, and I even have people poke fun at me, Mr. Positive, and some haters out there even accuse me of not even being really connected to reality, and I'm okay with that. But that's actually the complete opposite of the truth, right? To me, it's not about avoiding the truth at all, right? Positivity. I think it was Zig Ziglar that says positivity won't do anything, but it will do everything better than negativity will,
Love
right?
it.
So uh, it's it's more about taking a moment to just pause for a second and don't react. It's just taking a moment to look at the challenge for what it really is and figure out a way what to do something positive with the information that's provided, right? So I know that's a little like behavioral sciencey kind of stuff,
That's
but
perfect.
um, there was another quote, right? Since we're on the quoting train now, Napoleon Hill, the first like personal development book I ever read, and he said, "In every adversity contains the seed of an equal or greater benefit." And I'll tell you what, my life hasn't been all positive, right? There was some very, very dark days, and that quote has gotten me through some of the darkest ones. Just forcing me to take a moment to look at the situation and find what's good in here, because there always is something. And if everybody could take that approach, they'd be a lot happier in life, I think.
100%, man. Big believer there. I will say though, if anybody ever wants to uh, say something negative about me, I would love for that to be them calling me Mr. Positive. That's an amazing thing to pick on somebody about, and I'm so here for it, man. I love it. Every time we talk, I'm fired up, and
Yeah, but
it,
a lot of people don't know what it's like to be coached by me, however, right?
oh sure,
Right. Because to be a good coach, there's got to be some accountability. So uh, uh, I try to be positive. Yes, my wife, and I'm not always positive. But there's a lot of accountability and some tough things that have to happen to be successful in business and in life. And it's not all considered positive, right? But
sure. Well, talk to me about that side of the coin too. In coaching leaders and in their business,
mm,
what how do you become a better leader? And that's not all positivity and sunshine. That's taking some real inventory of yourself and your weaknesses and trying to reframe everything about you to be a better leader. What would you say to that? Give me some negativity here. Some of the stuff that if you're coaching me and you're seeing some wrong things, what are some of the criticisms that you've seen folks take and turn into real positives?
yeah. So first of all, you've got most of us technicians turned business owners have never really had any leadership training, right? And there's there's three primary roles of a leader that we've got to get right if you want to get people to follow you, right? First of all, we need to have a vision and be able to paint that vision for our people. If we want to get them on board with something, we've got to have them getting on board towards something that's compelling. That makes sense?
Sure.
So every great organization has a vision of some kind, and it's compelling, something that people want to be a part of. The second thing great leaders do is they give people a voice, right? They give people a voice on how we're going to get to that destination, whatever the vision is. All right. And third, and this is the hard part about leadership, is keeping everybody on the right path, the path that they agreed to be on. And that comes through accountability. And sometimes that's very uncomfortable for people, right? That's why things like standards and expectations being super clear are critical for a good leader to have, so that it makes accountability easier to do, if that makes sense, right?
100%.
Because one of the things that we do at Elite is we help them create an operational playbook, and that's a very valuable thing, but it just becomes a doorstop if they can't get it implemented. And part of implementation is the willingness to hold people accountable to the new standards that are being created, right? Here's another quote for you. I might take credit for this one, right? You get what you tolerate. And if you tolerate deviations from your standard and your dreams and your vision, right, that's what you're going to end up with.
I love it, man. And it's so easy to see how those deviations can happen, especially when we talk about the talent shortage and things like that. It feels like in so many cases we're hostage to our best
Yeah.
people. But we gotta stay true, right? There are all sorts of phrases around that. The
Some,
one bad apple, whatever.
some of the shops, especially post COVID, right? They were dealing with that, and they had that bad apple, and if they got rid of that bad apple, uh, almost immediately their entire culture improved.
How many times have you seen an entrepreneur where we can't live without that person when in reality the opposite's the case? It was a
Oh,
cancer and they're out of here. And obviously we want to try to coach
dude,
and improve whoever we
it's
can. But
scary. It's scary, especially when there aren't a lot of people out there. But the reality is there are a lot of people out there. We just got to figure out how to attract them better.
100%. Man, going back to some of your mastermind groups and some of the shops that you work with
Mhm.
week in, week out, day in, day out, whatever the cadence, any examples you could share, whether anonymous or public, about some shops or some leaders who have embodied that grow forward mindset?
Let me think who wouldn't mind me bragging on them. Because we're super proud of so many of our clients, and especially some of our mastermind members, who are not only using a grow forward mindset in their own business, but some of these guys are actually applying it to like their state body shop associations. They're stepping out and helping the industry, and that really is something that inspires me, beyond even the walls of their business. So Gerald Stiley and Jake Mosier from Collision Center One in the Minneapolis area, right? These guys have already opened their fourth location in one of the most competitive landscapes in the U.S. There's some good shops in Minneapolis, right? And these guys are rising above it all. They've also become involved in the AASP Minnesota. Jake recently joined the advisory council at ICAR, right? So these guys are just a shining example of everything that we teach and preach at Elite, and I'm so proud of them. And there's others too,
Uh,
but those guys are killing it up there.
I love to hear it, man. There's so many success stories out here of people who do not only great things within their business, but for the industry. And I think this industry is so open and accepting of that. If you're doing something good, if you're the right person, go help. Go get involved with local and regional associations. Go do your thing in 20 groups and in other groups. Get involved with the ICARs and the CREFs and the SCRSs of the world. There's so much opportunity to make a real impact in people's lives beyond the business side of the equation.
Yes, 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 for sure.
So I want to begin to wrap our conversation. We got a few minutes left here. You've been very generous with your time. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the collision repair industry tomorrow, what would it be?
Nothing, man. It's the challenge that makes it so interesting. Of course, I'll probably get some hate mail if I don't say something. So
That's a great answer, by the way. I'll let you keep rolling, but 100%, man,
yeah,
it's got to be worth the climb.
yeah, but I'm going to get some hate mails if I don't say something about the insurer's reluctance to pay for a job done right. I do wish that would change. And it's been a battle for the 40 years I've been in it, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. But that would be my magic wand moment.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Great answers across the board. For owners who are listening right now, you know that entrepreneurial journey can be very lonely, can be
Oh
very
my God.
dark at times. But for owners who are feeling burned out or overwhelmed and listening to this, and they've gotten a flicker of positivity, what's the first step to getting back on track and getting some momentum going?
Yeah, yeah, that's so important. And I've already gotten I think 2 calls this week from shop owners that are feeling burned out or overwhelmed. It's just so prevalent right now. It's tough. It's tough out there sometimes, and I think it's really important to be part of a community of people, not to get together and have a pity party, but just to know that you're not alone out there, and there are solutions to get better. Right. So burnout is really caused by two things. All right. It's working really hard using the wrong strategies, right? Just doing the same things over and over again and not getting the results you want. That's going to burn somebody out quick. All right. And the other thing I believe that causes burnout is not having a compelling vision. Why am I doing all this hard work? What's the outcome going to be someday if I keep doing this? So it's really important for shop owners to reconnect with that vision. And if they don't have a vision, create one. Just put pen to paper and say, if I do the right things, what could this business look like someday? What could it mean to my family? What could it mean to my community? Right. And then there's overwhelm, right? Overwhelm to me is a synonym for unorganized, right? Shop owners need a proactive strategy not reactivity. Every day they show up, they open the door. Next thing they know, they look at their watch and it's 5 o'clock and they go, I don't feel like I got a damn thing done today. So really the first step, right, to overcome, burnout and overwhelm it's about getting real about the current condition of the business, because they're clearly, there's something they're not doing correctly. They're using an old framework in today's modern collision industry, and it's just not working, right? So they've got to understand what's the current condition of the business, and that helps to start your roadmap for success, right? Can I talk about an assessment that's helping a lot of shops right now?
Please.
Yeah. So we just launched this thing. It's a free strategy assessment. It takes like 6 to 10 minutes. Any shop owner or manager can go on, and 6 to 10 minutes later, it's going to identify some of the gaps in the business. So it's comparing what's going on in a person's business to the strategies used by some of the world's best shops in 6 to 10 minutes. And it's just bodyshopassessment.com. It's just a free service that we're doing for people. And we'll even give them some free feedback and coaching. All right. Just something that we want to do to start building some relationships and helping some of these independents that maybe are feeling a little overwhelmed right now.
What an awesome sounding resource. I will be sure to go ahead and include that in the show notes as well. So anyone who's listening to this driving, don't jot that down. Keep your eyes on the road. Check out the show notes for that link, as well as some more here. We'll get a little bit later as we land the plane on this conversation. What do you see, Dave, as the biggest opportunity for shops and shop owners here over the next 3 to 5 years?
I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball on this question, because people are going to expect me to say something cool like, well, robotics or artificial intelligence or ADAS trends. But I believe the biggest opportunity for growth is simply the person standing on the other side of the counter from you, your customer, right? That experience that they have with you and your shop can organically grow a business better than any other fancy tool that I know that's out there, right? You got to own those customers for life, and you can't lose. That's what I want to see people really get focused on. Create processes and customer experiences that your competition won't or can't do.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So go figure. It's a people business we're in after all. That's perfect, man. Dave, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to get together. Where can people get in touch with you and learn more about Elite Body Shop Solutions?
Yeah, check out our website. We've got a ton of information at elitebodyshopsolutions.com. It's that easy. You can reach out to us anytime at info@elitebodyshopsolutions.com as well. We're always here for you.
Awesome. Dave, an absolute pleasure, sir. I will throw all of those links in the show notes. But as always, thank you for joining us once again here on the Collision Vision.
Cole, you're an awesome dude. Thank you. And thank you for everybody that's listening.
That is all for today's episode here on the Collision Vision, driven by Auto Body News. After that positive conversation, if you're not ready to run through a brick wall this afternoon, I don't know what to tell you. A big thank you to Dave Luehr for joining us and sharing his positivity, his wisdom, and insights on how we can all lead better and grow stronger. If you enjoyed today's episode or any of the episodes from this series and beyond, please go ahead and give us a follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And do me a favor, leave us a review and give it a share with someone in your network who it might be able to help. And if you want more of Dave's work, check him out on LinkedIn or visit Elite Body Shop Solutions for more resources and inspiration. You can find some of those links in the show notes. As always, on behalf of myself and the Auto Body News team, thank you for coming along for the ride.